So I dug this out of my archives the other day and thought I'd share it with you. I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever made. So in context, the company I was working for was a licensee of Champion. And actually at the time, Hanes Brands had bought our company. So we all flew down to Winston-Salem, met with all the heads of their departments, including all their senior management, including the president of the company. And we all had a chance to pitch kind of what our department did or what we could bring to the table. One of my ideas was a possible collaboration of Champion with J. Crew. And so I created this brochure to really give them kind of a visual overview of, what that looked like. So I obviously laid out the history of what J. Crew had done, and they were really one of the very first brands that started doing these collaborations. And this took place when Todd Snyder joined the company. And I remember all these brands. I mean, Barber, Timex, Filson, Jack Purcell, all these classic brands that they were doing collabs with, even Quaddy's on here, which I do work for currently. So I thought it was really interesting, that you could kind of take that same model and then add this collegiate vintage vibe through Champion. And so I showed, kind of some of the decoration techniques and, what the product visually would look like, categories. So even armed services, beyond collegiate, club sports, which is really cool, destinations, all these things that you could add to this, and showed them, a lot about the vintage effects of the product itself, that makes it look vintage and worn. Um, I thought this was a cool idea. So actually hand writing your name in the garments, and Todd Snyder actually does that to this day. So whether he got the idea from this little brochure, I'm sure Todd's very smart and figured it out on his own, didn't need my help. But anyway, I think that was kind of a cool touch. And then some of the old vintage hand tags and labels that they had over the years that could be applied to this project. So anyway, this was a cool little concept brochure. The best thing about it was I knew all these heads of departments were going to be taking home a stack of reports and brochures that everybody else had created. So I purposely made mine the smallest so it would be stacked on top and you wouldn't have it lost in the shuffle. So anyway, walk down memory lane.